Hey guys, Mr. Rubo here. Today we are talking about graphing absolute function values. So this is assuming you know what the um, parent function looks like for an absolute value, you know, that V shape. Um, so really today we're looking at just the transformations. So with the absolute value, what we're going to see, they're going to be in this form. Oops. I do that all the time with the second one for some reason. Um, so it's going to be in the form f of x equals a times the absolute value of x minus h, and then plus k outside of the absolute value. So what each of these things mean, or what they do to our parent function. So for a is this is going to be the vertical stretch uh, or compress. If it's bigger than 1, it's going to be a stretch, and if it's between 0 and 1, it's going to be a compression. Now, A can also be negative, so if it's negative, then we have a vertical reflection. Ooh, that's not how you spell reflection. Over the x-axis. So instead of being a V going this way, it would be a B going this way. Okay. And with the stretch and compress, that's also going to change the slope of these lines. Okay. Um, so like the basic one, when A is 1, the slope is 1 and negative 1. When whatever the slope is, or whatever this A value is, this right one becomes it has that slope, and then this one would have the opposite. Okay. So then the next thing, so obviously x is your input. Um, H is the horizontal shift. So, and it's the opposite. So make sure you pay attention to this right here. So if it's x minus 7, that means you go to the right 7. X plus 7 would mean to the left 7. Okay? And then the last transformation we're going to see is the k, which you could probably guess is the vertical shift. Now this one is plus k, so it's going to end up being, if you have a plus 1, you go up 1. If it's a minus 7, you go down 7. Okay. Um, the other thing that's kind of good to know is normally our vertex is at 0, 0, but if we have a horizontal shift or a vertical shift, it changes our vertex to those points. So if our h is 2 and our k is 7, our vertex um, would end up being that 2, 7. So I'll put it right here. So hk is your vertex point. So if they just ask you what the vertex is and it's in this form, you can just easily pull it out of the equation. Let's do just a quick graph, a quick example. So the example I came up with was f of x equals negative 2 x plus 3 minus 2. Okay, now technically um, you don't have to do you don't have to know necessarily these transformations to graph it. Um, you could just create a table of values like you could with any other function. It might take you longer than just identifying the things. It's kind of up to you. So you could do an x and y table and figure out good x's, good y's, so that way you can see the shape. But instead, I'm going to use what we just went over and graph it from there. So first, I'm going to start with my h and my k. So right there, I know my vertex point is negative 3, comma, negative 2. Okay. Um, so that means I'm going to go ahead and plot negative 3, negative 2. I'm going to plot it right there. So there's the vertex. Now Now we look at our A. So now let's look at this A value. First, it's negative. Okay, so that means instead of going up the V, it's going to end up going down. And then the other thing is that A tells us is the slope of our two parts. So let me just add a few more tick marks. I probably didn't need that many. So from the vertex, because this is -2, I'm going to actually go -2. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1. What a point. And I can keep going, and that's going to be, this half of the V. Now for the other half, it's just the opposite. So instead of being -2 to the left where it would be technically going up, it's +2, so it'd be down 2 to the left 1. So that's technically 2 negatives, right? All right. And then down 2 to the left 1. And there we go. It has been flipped and stretched, and then also shifted. Because if we think about the original absolute value graph, it would look more like that, okay, based off my scale. So you can definitely see it's been stretched that vertical. It's closer together if you want to think of it that way. And it's been flipped and moved. So yeah, that's pretty much it for graphing absolute values. Have a good day.